Hey guys, Murphy's Liz here. Just wanted to discuss Pot of Greed a little bit. I was talking to a friend of mine who used to play Yu-Gi-Oh, and he knows what Pot of Greed is. And I was telling him, like, wouldn't it be crazy if they came out with Pot of Greed that had a life point cost on it? I'd be willing to pay 1,000 life points. I'd even be willing to pay 2,000 life points. 3,000 seems like a bit much, but that's probably where about it should be for 2 cards. And 4,000 is just too much for me. But then you go, and he was like, you know what? If they had, he said if they have it to where you pay half your life points, then people would still run it in 3 because free cards are free cards. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. That's crazy. So you look at it from a developer standpoint, a card designer standpoint, and you kind of consider those kind of things and go, well, you can't really put a life point cost onto it because people are willing to pay it. People are willing to pay. Look at Soul Charge. Soul Charge is a prime example of that. People are willing to pay 5,000 life points and lose their battle phase to get a super powered version of Monster Reborn. So people will probably be willing to pay upwards to or upwards of 3,000 life points to draw 2 cards. And so then you think about it and you look at the cards that exist and you look at Allure of Darkness, you look at D-Draw, you look at Solar Recharge, and they all have that thing in common where you draw 2 cards and then you give up a card somehow. You either banish it, discard it, whatever. But they're still really good. They give you these plays that you normally wouldn't have. They maybe put you in a better situation. D-Draw lets you dump Malicious. That's pretty good. Solar Recharge. Puts extra light swords in the graveyard or gives you a wolf. So you're plussing. You're still plussing, sort of. It just depends. And then Allure of Darkness, you can argue it doesn't really give you a plus. It just breaks you even. But you can kind of go, well, it doesn't put a dark in the graveyard is what you want if you're playing Teledad or whatever. It gives you graveyard control. That's kind of a thing. But yeah, so I'm really thinking, is it safe for Pot of Greed to come back ever? It's free. You don't pay anything. It's free. It's a +1. It's a free +1. And the thing is that it's generic, so everybody would get to use it. Strong decks would stay strong, and weaker decks would get stronger. But comparatively, everything would be the same. But you look at it and you go, okay, well, let's look at it at a blank, from a blanket standpoint, and you would go, okay, yeah, it does the same thing for everybody, just like Duality does, just like Plotted Dichotomy does, just like Dark Hole. And then you go, okay, well, Magician of Faith is off the ban list. Maybe Chaos decks would become a little more powerful because your opponent could turn 1, in a dream scenario, turn 1, set Magician, set a couple back row, play Pot of Greed, plus Yugioh. You're playing Hat or whatever. Set your hand, set your back row, pass turn. Your opponent draws their card, flips Magician, and assuming you didn't have an answer, which is pretty unlikely in today's day and age, you're gonna get your Pot of Greed back and draw 2 more cards for free, and you just dug 4 cards deep by turn 2. And so that's pretty powerful. But you would still need to have drawn Pot of Greed and Magician of Faith in the first turn for that to even be a possibility. Some could argue, well, you could play Magical Stone Excavation and give up cards that are dead to you, so you could go, let me play Magical Stone Excavation and give up Soul Charge and this other card I'm not using because I don't have enough life points to play that Soul Charge anyway. Get back a Pot of Greed and see if I can dig for an answer. And that's a pretty fair trade, I think, to me. I think the thing that that worries me the most though is that crazy Magician of Faith combo. That's pretty good. It's pretty powerful. Gives you a lot of advantage. It's just value. It's just good stuff together. And so I could see Konami's fear in that. But other than that, there's crazy combos. There's crazier combos than that. You could play Neospacians, for whatever reason. They would all go to the graveyard. your different dudes, play Soul Charge, bring all your guys back, play Neo Gift, Space Gift, or whatever. Draw a card for each different Neo Station. Maybe +3, and then make your play. And so there's cards, there's combos like that, and so that seems a lot worse than hopefully getting a Magician of Faith opening hand and Pot of Greed together, and and whatever. But then you look at it like this. Then you go, okay, let me play Duality. Oh, cool. Oh, great. I drew Card Car. Let me play Pot of Greed now. Draw 2 more cards. Now let me play Card Car. Let me set my back row. Let me play Card Car. And that's just like you just dug so deep right there in your first turn. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cards, assuming you didn't have upstarts too. And that's just an Exodia nightmare asking to happen. Yeah, so I don't know. I think it would be fun to have Pot of Greed back, but it probably isn't very smart to have Pot of Greed back. That's just my opinion. And it was just kind of interesting to just kind of think about Pot of Greed being back. It's exactly what you want when you want it. And that's basically the best way of describing Pot of Greed. It's just good times. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about Pot of Greed being on the list still, and if you think it's fair that it comes back, or if it's too powerful and will create too much of an advantage for certain decks, and needs to stay on the list. So yeah, hit the like, subscribe button, see when I put any videos, and thanks for watching.